Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Judy Lee and I'm a holistic coach, and you can find out more about what I do in the description box below. So we're here this week to do the energy reading, so let's get started. Just before I start, actually, just to let you know that Mercury is going retrograde on the 18th of June, and I've already started noticing some I guess some impact on technology and things like that, because Mercury is the rule of communication, technology, transport, etc. So you might in the shadow period start to see some impacts, and when it does actually go retrograde, then it's generally, I think we're already well into the period of the planet being retrograde. So I just wanted to mention that because it's just something I've noticed myself. All right, so let's see what the cards have to say for this week. What's the message for this week, please? What's the message for this week? 3 cards. Okay. Oops. Okay, so we do have 3 cards that have come out. Okie dokes. And I'll just arrange that. Okay. There we are. And then just at the bottom of the deck, which I take to be the general theme, or the general theme of the reading. So we've got the 2 of Swords, and this is about, as you can see in the picture, and swords represent thoughts as well. So I guess there's a decision to be made, or feeling indecisive, unclear of where to go, which is interesting because I think I just wrote a blog about facing the unknown. I think we're all a lot of us are impacted, obviously, by the virus or the pandemic, whatever you want to call it, and it's affecting everyone in a different way. So it's not surprising that you might be feeling a bit unsure about what next steps are, and I can relate to that as well. And I think the message that's been coming to me recently really is about just taking it one step at a time and dropping into the present moment, which might feel a bit hard to do, but there's something about just being able to let go. And I understand that everyone has different pressures, and perhaps people relying on them, etc. But it's a practice. It's a practice of learning to let go and just trust, sink into that knowing that we all have inside of ourselves. I'll see what the rest of the cards say, but that's just the initial message. And also, last week I talked about intuition, and when we're feeling indecisive, it's normal that we go into our minds and try and work things out, but it's about letting things unfold naturally. And even if we wanted to plan now, we couldn't really. So it's being able to let go and trust in ourselves, but also trust that there's a greater plan for all of us. So let's just see what the rest of the cards are saying. So then we have the Page of Wands, and as you can see with this one, the Wands is generally a active energy, but being the Page, it's the youngest of the court cards. So he's basically looking at his wand there, and I think there's something about reflecting and looking at where is it that we actually really want to go deep down. So I think that's what that card is about. And then you've got the 7 of Wands, and you can see here, this guy is fighting and, feeling a bit, Yeah, the feeling I'm getting is, you know, the world's against him somehow, and he's trying to fight his way through against all the demands that are being placed on him. Um, and generally, I take this as it can be well, it's the demands that we place on ourselves essentially, and you know, because we'll always have pressure, always have people wanting things from us. And, you know, it's not necessarily to try and stop the outside world from moving. It's about being able to say no and being clear about what our own boundaries are, what we need in our lives. So there's something about, maybe feeling a bit defensive and fighting against something, but sinking into realizing our own strength, about being able to say no and to set clear boundaries. Okay, and then we have, just put this here, the Three of Cups, and for me this is a card of celebration. It's, you know, we can see the fruits of the harvest, the results of some hard work and taking time to celebrate. And yeah, so that's what that card's about. So I'm just going to take a moment to bring it together. There's quite a few messages coming through. Sometimes some weeks the message is very clear, others it's a bit of everything. And because we don't have any major arcana cards here, it's talking about the little things that we can do in our lives to make things more easier and enjoyable. So firstly, if you're facing uncertainty, not feeling clear about the future, just know that that's okay. And you know, the outside world will always be putting pressure on us. You know, the way things work, it is about this churning of the system. The way it works is by having people following a certain way of living, and when you know you start to think a bit differently from that, it can feel a bit hard, and it can feel a bit hard to say no to certain things. But there's something about being clear about where you want to be. What is it that you really want in your life? You know, over the past few weeks and during the lockdown or confinement, you know, there was that was the message that I was getting a lot about, feeling into what it is that you really want. And I think there's something about just coming back to that, because for a lot of us, we're probably getting back into the swing of things after you know, the lockdown sort of, or the restrictions starting to come off, and getting pulled back into that old way of living that we used to have. And not that we can ever return to that, but there's that energy still there. So there's something about getting clear again about what it is. Reflect back on, you know, if you spent that time reflecting on what you wanted, go back to that idea. If you wrote it down, if you didn't, then think now to what it is that you do want, and learn to start to say no to the things that don't actually serve your path anymore. Start to be clear about your boundaries, about what is okay, what's not okay. And it's also about celebrating, being in the present. And this part is also about coming back into the present moment and celebrating what is here right now. And for example, I took a walk this morning, and I think earlier this week I felt a bit in my head. You know, I just was in that phase really of, you know, what do I do next, that type of thing. But then I had a sudden change in perspective, and the message came through to just come into the present moment. And I started noticing things that I never really noticed on my walk. And it was nice, like the flower that's blooming, butterflies, birds that are singing. it's just yeah, it's just quite an amazing shift. So I encourage you to, you know, come back into the present moment and enjoy what is here right now, instead of being too much into the future. And, you know, we can worry, but it doesn't really get us anywhere, and ends up making us feel conflicted as well. So just in summary, know that it's okay to feel, you know, unsure about where you're going, but try and get clear about where it is or what it is that you really want, and say no to the things that are no longer on that path for you. And celebrate, be in the present moment, enjoy what's here right now. We never know what's going to come in the future, and if we have the opportunity to really enjoy what is in this present moment, then, you know, that's a real blessing. So I hope that makes sense and is clear to you. I'm thinking I might pull out just a Louise Hay card, and I'm just, you probably can't see, I've just got a bag here, but I'm just going to quickly pull out a card. So what's the card for us? Ah, this is a beautiful card. I hope you can see it there. So it says, I did pick this randomly, but I see myself living in a wonderful place. It fulfills all my needs and desires. It's in a beautiful location and at a price I can afford. And I think you can take that literally, as in you're actually in a beautiful place and perhaps you're looking to buy a property, etc. But I think it's also a bit metaphorically, in the sense that look at where you want to be, think, you know that, or feel into what the needs and desires that you want, and know that it's there for you and it's possible. And we just need to take steps each day towards what we want in our lives, and be in alignment with you know, love and abundance, and all the things that we want. Well, that was very nice. So I hope that resonates. Maybe it's a specific message for one of you, but I hope it resonates in some way. So that's a reading for this week. Thanks so much for listening and spending your time with me. I've really enjoyed it. And if you like what you see, then like the video, that would be lovely. Subscribe to the channel so you can, and tick the button, I think it's the bell button, so you can get notified when the messages come through. And I'm wishing you a wonderful week full of love, joy, and whatever it is that you really desire in your life. Have a good week. Take care. Bye-bye.